Well, coastal tales emerged because people are really worried about the climate crisis, and I think there's a sense of frustration and really people just asking, "What can I do?" And just can the small changes that they make be enough to counteract the climate crisis that we're facing at the moment? So that's really the origins of coastal tales.
Yes, that sense of powerlessness and not knowing what you can do to help then helped us realise that there were quite a lot of people who were already adapting and working to create some change. And that was particularly with people on the coast, wasn't it? That coastal folk are already feeling the effects of climate change, and that it's there that we can start to see what adaptations work and what don't. And so that was where it all began, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was, and I think that's really, the value for me is that it encourages us to rethink our position in the world. That the world isn't there as this inert resource waiting for us to go and deplete it and take from it. It encourages us to think of it as being embedded within the world, and our actions have consequences. This wonderful nature in the rivers and along the coast is it's ours to, it's not ours, it's we're in trust of it, and we've got to preserve it for future generations.
I think the power of the stories comes in that they provide that information in an entertaining way. So some of the stories that are coming from the Alutiiq population in Alaska provide that almost evidence, if you like, of how people not only understood their environment, but also how the environment taught them and was like a partner even in the creation of their worlds.
One of the things which really fascinated me with the Coracle Boys, the stories are coming from the Tarry in West Wales, is the way in which people actually sense their environment. They work with the environment. They go coracling at night, and you get two coracles working together, and they've got these nets. But it's very sensory. It's not a learnt sort of book learnt knowledge. It's a very haptic engagement with the world. Because in Dublin, many of these stories of how the coast used to be in Dublin Bay have disappeared. So what the team are doing there is going back and looking at old maps in particular to see what sort of traditional defences there were against coastal erosion. But they are also talking to local communities.
Yeah, I think this is a really important point because we're recognising that there are different approaches to understanding the world, and that the world has provided information in different ways to different people, depending on their training. So Indigenous knowledge provides a particular picture of the world, which perhaps maybe an environmental scientist's approach wouldn't. They're both valuable, and we need to find a way to create a common language. And this is where the synthesis part of coastal tales comes into being, because we're not just keeping these three territories or these three approaches apart, we're drawing them together to find a common language.